Today on Trad Takes, we discuss Leo XIV, and we look back at Pope Leo XIII and some of the things he has said regarding socialism. All this and more on Trad Takes. Welcome to episode 17 of Trad Takes, as always hosted by the Traditionalists. Thank you all for joining me yet again. I hope all of the mothers listening had a wonderful Mother's Day, and I hope all the fathers out there remembered it was Mother's Day. Quick programming note, there was no Trad Takes last week, but in its place we had the Two Men in a Garage live cast. I hope you were able to join for that, but if you didn't, please go back and watch a couple of men talking religion, geopolitics, and so much more, while drinking scotch and smoking cigars. Another programming note, I will continue to release Trad Takes every Monday morning, but they may be a little shorter than usual. The reason is this, I plan to start recording encyclicals of Pope Leo XIII for our sister channel, Catholic Family Podcast. I only have so much time in the week, and I know recording the good pontiff's words will be time much better spent than recording my own political musings. We'll start off like we do every week today, reading and responding to comments on the last video. The first one's from Larry Picard, 8802. Larry says, "What's with all this cigar smoking and bourbon drinking with rad trads? It's not, quote-unquote, cool." Well, I'm sorry you feel that way. I'd like to say that I personally don't drink or smoke because it's cool, and I'm guessing the vast majority of men over the age of 20 don't either. I drink and smoke because it tastes good, and because taken in moderation, it's a great way to both relax the body and also focus the mind. And because it's just one of life's simple pleasures that God allows us to enjoy. If you haven't experienced being in a men's group, talking theology while drinking, in moderation of course, and smoking, tobacco of course, if you haven't experienced that, I'm sorry to say you're really missing out. I highly recommend it, and I hope you can give it a shot someday. In any case, thanks for listening, and thanks for the comment. And then the last one I'll read today is from longtime listener and commenter Janet R. 5693. She made this comment regarding the fact that feminism is men's fault. Kevin and I discussed that men allowed it to happen because we were lazy. So Janet R. says, "True, Eve took the first bite. Why didn't Adam be a man and say no?" Amen, Janet, and thanks for continuing to listen and continuing to comment. Moving to the news, the major news, of course, as everywhere, is the election of Robert Prevost to the head of the Vatican. Others have done much more extensive evaluations and discussions on the so-called Leo XIV. If you haven't yet, check out Father Geckel's analysis on this channel, on the Traditionalists. Also check out Father Zepeda's analysis on the Catholic Wire. Mario Dirksen and many other commenters have done great work, so follow and listen to everything they're saying. But for me, for Trad Takes, I'm going to simplify it a little bit. I don't care if Prevost is a good person or a bad person. I don't care if he's been covering up scandals and abuse. I really don't care if he wears the red papal cape, the Pellegrino, or not. I don't even care what his stance is on the traditional Latin Mass. What it comes down to is he was elected as a head of a church that promulgates the heretical and erroneous doctrines of Vatican II. A member of that church cannot be Catholic, and a non-Catholic cannot be Pope. It's as simple as that. If you have any issues with that line of thinking, please put them in the comments and I'll address them next week. But in my opinion, sometimes less is more. Let's not get lost in the weeds of scandals or the conservative versus liberal debate. None of that really matters. What matters is that the church that this man leads is promulgating error, and therefore it can't be the Catholic Church. And we shouldn't take this man any more seriously than we take Joel Osteen. Now, if he starts formally renouncing the errors of Vatican II, if he starts getting himself and the other Vatican clergy conditionally ordained and consecrated by legitimate bishops, if he begins purging the Vatican of ecumenism and Freemasonry, well, then I'll start paying attention. But until then, I don't plan on wasting much more time speculating whether he's liberal or conservative. Just because he dresses up like a pope and sits in St. Peter's throne doesn't mean I care what his views are on the traditional Latin Mass, or whether he gives the okay to do so. Sometimes less is more. And until he does or says something that's newsworthy, I don't plan on talking about him much more. One thing I will say is that this man taking the name of Leo irks me to no end. Pope Leo XIII has always been one of my favorite of the modern popes, in no small part due to his scathing critiques of socialism. I'm looking forward to recording his encyclicals for Catholic Family Podcast, but just to give you a little taste of some of the things, this is from his encyclical Rerum Novarum, written in 1891. Socialists, by endeavoring to transfer the possessions of individuals to the community at large, strike at the interests of every wage earner, since they would deprive him of the liberty of disposing of his wages, and thereby of all hope and possibility of increasing his resources and of bettering his condition in life. Every man has by nature the right to possess property as his own. In his encyclical Diuturnum, he writes, and this was in 1881, "We have reached the limit of horrors, to wit, communism, socialism, nihilism, hideous deformities of the civil society of men, and almost its ruin. And yet too many attempt to enlarge the scope of these evils, and under the pretext of helping the multitude, already have fanned no small flames of misery." 1881. I wonder if the new quote-unquote Pope Leo has the same feelings about socialism. That sound means we're all out of time for today. Please like, share, and subscribe to The Traditionalists. Ring that bell if you want to get the notification when a video comes out. And do feel free to leave a comment. You never know if yours will be the one that I read and react to next week. This is Eric signing off. God bless you all, and God bless these United States of America.